In example 5b, we are again trying to come up with the equation of a line that meets certain characteristics. This time, the characteristics are that the line has an x-intercept at 2 and it contains the point 6, 1. Okay, so we know that since we are trying to come up with the equation of a line that meets certain characteristics, we're going to need to use point slope form. So I'm going to go ahead and write that down. So we've got y minus y1 is equal to m times x minus x1. Okay. Remember the template I told you in the previous video for when you plug into this. Y is going to stay y. The minus sign comes with it. You will plug in y1, and then you'll have your equal sign. You will plug in for the m value. Open parentheses, x will stay x, the minus sign comes with it, you'll plug in for x1, close parentheses. Okay, so that's what we're going to plug into. Okay, so we need to plug in the slope, which is m, and we need to plug in the point x1, y1. Okay, so remember, x1, y1 is just a point that you know is on the line. Okay, well, we have been told that the line goes through 6, 1. Okay, so that's our point. So 6, 1, that's going to be your x1, y1. x1 is going to be 6. It is the x coordinate of the point that we know is on the line. And then y1 is the y coordinate of the point that we know is on the line. Okay, so we already know the x1 and the y1, so we can go ahead and plug those in. Okay, so inside the parentheses over here, we're going to have x minus x1, so this is going to be x minus 6. And then on the left side, we've got to do y minus y1, so this is going to be y minus 1. Okay, now we need to plug in the slope. That's the last thing we need, and then we'll be able to convert this thing to y equals mx plus b form. Okay, well, you're not outright told that, oh, the slope is blah, blah, blah. Okay, we don't know what the slope is. We actually have to calculate it here. It's a little tricky. This first characteristic that the x-intercept is at 2, that may be tricky for you, okay? But what I need you to realize, because you're probably like, well, what do I do with that? Okay, if you've got a line, and I'm just drawing the x and y axes here, okay? If you've got a line or any kind of graph, doesn't have to be a line, in this case it is, but if you are told that you've got an x-intercept at 2, that means your graph is going to cross the x-axis at 2, okay? So this point would be your x-intercept. Okay, so since the line has such an x-intercept, that means that our line is going to go through this point, and this point has coordinates 2, 0. Okay, so this characteristic of the x-intercept being at 2, it is masquerading as just, this is a point on the line. Okay, so in actuality, we know 2 points on the line. 6, 1 is a point on the line, but 2, 0 is a point on the line. Okay, so you basically had to translate the x-intercept into an ordered pair. Okay, you could have been given a condition about the y-intercept. Okay, and you would do the same kind of thing. You got to change it over to an ordered pair. All right, so what good is this? Well, now we know 2 points on the line, not just 1. Okay, so since we have 2 points on the line, 2, 0 and 6, 1, now we can compute the slope. Because if we label these points, we've already labeled 6, 1 as the x1, y1. This is our second point on the line, so this is going to be x2, y2. Okay, so we can apply the slope formula. It's y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1. And then once we have that slope value, we can just plop it in. Okay, so let's compute the slope. Okay, so slope is going to be y2 minus y1, so this is going to be 0 minus 1 over x2 minus x1. Okay, so this is going to be 2 minus 6. If we simplify, the numerator will be -1, the denominator will be -4, and so the answer here will be +1/4. Okay, so that's the slope. Okay, so we can go ahead and plug that in. Okay, we originally didn't know the slope, now we know it's 1/4, and I'm going to plug that in for the m value. Okay, and now we've plugged in both the slope and the point, so we've completely plugged into point slope form. Now we just need to convert this to y equals mx plus b form. Okay, all right, so I'm going to leave the left side alone, okay, and then I'm going to go ahead and distribute the 1/4 through the parentheses. So we're going to get 1/4 times x, then positive times minus will be minus, okay, and then we're going to have to multiply 1/4 times 6, okay, so this is going to be y minus 1 is equal to 1/4 times x minus, if you do the calculation here, you put the 6 over 1, if you're multiplying fractions, that is 6/4. You multiply across the top and you multiply across the bottom, okay? So then what we can do is, we can go ahead, we're solving for y here, we can go ahead and add the 1 to both sides, okay? We want to get y by itself, so since we're subtracting 1, we're going to do the opposite and add 1 to both sides, okay? So we're going to get y on the left, that's equal to 1/4 times x minus 6/4 plus 1, okay? So I need to simplify this number, okay? You can't combine any of the pieces with the x term because it's the only term that has an x. So let's go ahead and figure out what our y-intercept should be. Okay, so we're going to have y equals 1/4 times x. And when we look at this, we're going to be adding fractions. So we're going to have minus 6/4, well, let's put minus 4, minus a fraction over 4 plus a fraction over 4, okay? We're adding fractions, okay? We can make the 1 a fraction by putting it over 1. So to add the fractions, they need to have the same bottom, okay? So again, if you're not sure what to use, you just multiply the denominators together. 1 times 4 is 4, okay? So we need to convert the 6/4 and the 1 to fractions over 4, okay? Now, let's go with the negative 6/4. I've brought the minus sign down. I've kept that. 6/4 already has the correct denominator, so you don't need to change the numerator. It can just stay what it is, okay? However, the 1 1 over 1 has a denominator of 1, so we need to change it over to a denominator of 4. So we're going to have to multiply the bottom by 4. If we do it to the bottom, we have to do it to the top, okay? So that means the new denominator is going to be 1 times 4, which is 4, and then the new numerator will be 1 times 4, which is 4, okay? 4 divided by 4 is 1, okay? So I'm going to finish it this way because I have more room, okay? So we're going to get y equals 1/4 x minus, okay, we're adding fractions with the same denominator, okay? So we're going to retain the denominator of 4, okay? So we're going to get, let's see here. We're going to have 1/4 x, and then we're not sure what the sign is going to be, okay? So we're going to keep the bottom over 4, and then you need to add across the top, negative 6 plus 4, okay? So then that will give us the final answer, okay? So y will equal 1/4 x, okay? Negative 6 plus 4 is going to be minus 2 over 4, okay? This reduces, okay? You can write the final answer is y equals 1/4 x minus 1/2. Okay, here you go. Again, this is the answer in slope-intercept form, okay? Something I want to mention, when you're dealing with these fractions, you don't have to do them by hand. You can surely do them on your calculator, okay? So say we had gotten here, okay, when we were up here, negative 6/4 plus 1, you can just put this in the calculator, okay? You could do negative 6/4 plus 1, so type it in like that. It's going to give you a decimal. So then what you do is you're going to hit this math button, see where my cursor is? Option 1 is to change something to a fraction, okay? So hit option 1, and it'll give you the fraction that you're looking at, okay? So that's a really, really useful calculator tool to convert any decimal to a fraction. Just go, to math, option 1 to convert to a fraction, okay? All right, I will also go through the process here of converting this form to the general form, okay? So I'm gonna go back to the other page here. And so now we know we have y equals 1/4 x minus 1/2, and we want to convert this over to the general form. Okay, so in case you were asked to do this, we know that general form is the ax plus by is equal to c. Okay, so the x piece and the y piece need to be on the same side. So I'm going to start by moving over the 1/4 times x. Okay, so that's going to tell us that negative 1/4 x minus, or sorry, hold on, let me rewrite this. Okay, this is going to tell us that negative 1/4 x plus y is equal to negative 1/2. Okay, so now the x piece and the y piece are on the same side, but I told you with general form, we typically don't have any fractions in there, so we've got to get rid of the fractions. Okay, so the question is, do you multiply by the 4 or the 2? Okay, well, you're going to multiply by the bigger denominator. Okay, so we're going to take this whole thing, we're going to multiply by 4. Okay, you're going to have to distribute the 4 to each of these pieces. Okay, so we're going to get, if we do this out to the side, 4 times negative 1/4. Okay, put the 4 over 1. To multiply fractions, you're going to go across the top and across the bottom. So this is going to give us negative 4 over 4, which is negative 1. This is going to, this first piece, 4 times negative 1/4 x, is going to turn into negative x. And then distribute the 4 to the y, so that's going to be plus 4y. Okay, equals, the last thing you've got to do, and I'll do it over here, you've got to do 4 times negative 1/2. Okay, again, put the 4 over 1, multiply across the top and across the bottom. That's going to give you negative 2. Okay, so this is the other way you could express the answer, and this is general form. All right, so we are done. Okay, we have calculated that the line that has an x-intercept at 2 and also contains the point 6,1, its equation is y equals 1/4 times x minus 1/2. That's the equation in slope-intercept form. It can also be expressed in general form as negative x plus 4y is equal to negative 2.